What's happening, Shredder Nation? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode number 62 of Shred Your Body. I'm your host, Jesse James Jamnik. It is my great honor, my privilege to be the ER Shred Health Coach, to be one of two ER Shred ambassadors. You know, we launched this thing over 17 months ago, and the results that have poured in, the lives that have changed have been absolutely just jaw-dropping, to say the least. And it's just so I'm just so full of gratitude and just happiness to know that people that struggled for a big chunk of their life, when it comes to what I believe is feeling amazing every single day. What's up, Kathy? What's up, Lisa? Thank you guys for joining. Drop in, say hello, let us know where it is you're coming in from. But I believe in my soul that it's our birthright to feel amazing every single day. I've been in this industry for 20 plus years. I've studied it. I've tried it. More importantly, I've used myself as a human freaking guinea pig, testing and trying everything, coaching people along the way, fumbling, failing. And I think that's the most beautiful part about where we're at right now, is that it's this culmination of all these years of experience. It's this culmination of, pulling the best from everywhere. And really, more importantly, it's giving people back the power to understand that they have everything they need inside them. It's literally an empowerment movement with a health protocol wrapped around it that's just electrifying. And it literally just shoots life back into people. And I'm just so thankful to be a freaking part of it. So what's up, Jenny? What's up, Rike? Rosie, Susan, everybody's popping in. So listen, every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, my goal is to tap into our shredder community, which is over 24,000 now. We officially hit that mark. I'm so excited for that. The goal is to now double that, to triple that. That just puts us closer to impacting the millions of lives around the world that we know we're going to do. But every Tuesday, I want to share another amazing story of inspiration, of hope. I want to share stories that can connect with people. Hopefully there's somebody out there that's struggling. Hopefully there's somebody out there that might need a little bit of help, and hearing these amazing rock star hero stories. These people that come on this call are amazing. They're heroes. It's a very vulnerable place. It takes strength to come on here, and I'm just so grateful for them. So without further ado, I want to bring you tonight's special guest, straight from the cold state of Vermont. Welcome to Shred Your Body.
Hi, how are you?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Jess?
Can you hear me? Yeah, what do I got to do?
I think your internet froze. Oh, there you are. Now you're back. Can you hear me?
Hey, can you see me now?
Yep, you're good.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. I think your internet froze, but I said, welcome to Shred Your Body. I'm really, really excited that you're here. And we got, man, there's a lot. There's a lot that I'm excited to talk to you about. I mean, your story is so freaking inspirational. You got a backstory, and then you got the watch out, like get out of my way story. I'm done. I've had enough. How long have you been here, Jess? Tell people where you're from. I just told everybody you're from Vermont. Are you originally from there? What do you do for a living? What's your passion?
I'm originally from Maine. I was born and raised in Maine. I moved to Vermont 5 years ago. That's kind of what I, fell off between isogenics and then jumping back on the shred, which I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But by trade, I'm a truck driver. We used to own our own trucking business. We had for about 20 years, my husband and I owned a business of multiple trucks, and had that going. And I was a mechanic as well. I worked at a school department. I was their head mechanic in charge of all the equipment, anything from lawnmowers up to a big T-Rex loader, all the maintenance and upkeep for that. And so that was my little gist of, who I am before all, the story. So.
Yeah. Safe to say, you are not a lazy person.
No, not by.
That's for sure.
If somebody calls me lazy, then they've got the wrong person.
I mean, whoa. So tell me, where did you get this passion?
Passion for
for big rigs, like where did that all come from?
Actually, when I graduated high school, and my husband, I was dating him at the time, started to truck driving school, and I told my father I was going to go and do the same thing, and he told me, "You'll never make it as a truck driver." And my answer to him was, "Watch me." So,
okay.
It's, don't tell me I can't, because I'm going to show you I can.
Yeah. So you've always kind of had this little, what do we call it? Do we call it the edge? Like, is it the edge of like, watch out?
Yeah, pretty much. If you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Where did that come from?
One of 5 kids, very competitive family. Athletic wise, growing up, it's just the way I was. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And where do you fit into the 5?
I am the second to youngest. There's one more behind me.
So you had some quote unquote proven to do then, right? To like stand your ground and like.
Oh, absolutely. You got to stand up and go for it. Otherwise you're going to get run over. So. For sure. Athletics. What kind of sports? I was on the ski team, both alpine and Nordic ski team. I did that through high school. I played softball. Wow. I pitched for the high school team, and up in got a chance to try out for the Women's Pro League. I tore a rotator cuff, so that ended that possibility. But we practiced 6 days a week. It was the way it was. My dad was my coach, and you got up and you went to practice whether you wanted to or not.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. If you see yourself flashing, don't worry. Don't stress. You'll like cut out real quick and come back. So it's all good. Like it's still drop in and let us know if everything's good. You guys can follow along and we're on the go. Cause if not, we'll try something before we go. So that's a lot, Jess. I mean, you are very active, very competitive, have the right mindset. Sounds like things are cooking. You meet your husband. He's into trucking. You fall in love with it as well. Sounds like you guys blow up and have a pretty kick-ass rock star business, and you're going. And I remember you sharing all that with me, and thanks for going into that more. And this is kind of where things like you get to a certain point, right, with life. You have 2 amazing children who are thank God thriving now. And I'm so excited. Like that makes me so happy. Like when I see you post and I see her post and, listen, if you don't mind, I want to start here. There's something that struck me. It really hit me. I've been coaching for a while, and there's certain phrases that come about and things that people say and how they say them. Your daughter said something the other day online. It was something like, I came home and my mom was dancing around, happy as can be. I haven't seen my mom like that in forever. Like this gave me my mom back. Yeah. Like whoa. Can you unpack that? Like what's the whole story behind that? If you don't mind.
Well, I've got to really back up a long ways and give you Jennifer's story to explain that.
Let's do it.
Jennifer is my miracle child, is for all intents and purposes. When I was 5 months pregnant with her, I found out I had uterine cancer, and the doctors tried to talk me into an abortion. At this point in time, I have she's 5 months along, she's moving, she's kicking, she could survive if she was born, and they wanted to abort. That was my first battle with what I call the medical mafia, because we had one hell of a fight, and I'm like, I fired my doctor and went and found somebody else, because that was not in the cards. So Jennifer was born about a month early. She was less than 4 pounds when she was born, because she wasn't getting the nutrients because of what I was going through with my body. Aside from that, she was happy and healthy, aside from the fact that she was so small, or so we thought. When Jennifer was a little over 2 years old, she started developing, I can't remember the phrase, like short seizures where she'd just stare off into space and be blank, not there. And
Okay.
as she got, huh?
No, I just said okay.
Yeah. And then as she got older and went on further, she started developing more severe seizures, and they got to be that, 4 to 6 times a day she would be having seizures, to the point that my son would be like, "Hey mom, Jen's doing it again," because she'd fall over and start seizing, and it just became the normal. The doctors pulled my husband and I in when she was 5 and said, told my husband, I'll never forget it, "You're going to have to help your wife come to terms with this, but your daughter's not going to live to see her 10th birthday." I don't know why. Apparently he was supposed to handle that better than I was, because I don't know any parent that could handle that, male, female, mother, father, whatever. But it was just, and I looked at him and I'm like, "You're wrong." And he looked at my husband. He goes, "See, this is what I'm talking about. She's not going to accept this." I'm like, "No, you're wrong." And we started digging and digging. And at that point in time, I quit my job. I was working at the school as a maintenance as a mechanic. And, I backed off from the trucking company and went full bore into, I need an answer. And, "Sorry, your daughter has an expiration date" was not an answer. So through all the, research and everything I could find, I ended up down in Houston with the head of pediatric neurology at the time. I can't think of the doctor's name. I could probably go back in the files and find it. But he looked at me and said, "Ma'am, there's nothing wrong with your daughter." And I'm sitting there going, "What kind of idiot are you?" I'm like, "This kid's having massive seizures every day, and you're telling me there's nothing wrong with her?" And naturally, I was not very nice. I can curse like a sailor. Don't mind me if I get too passionate. But I was like, "Hey, what do you mean there's nothing wrong with her?" And he goes, "You're barking up the wrong tree." He goes, "This is a reaction, not a symptom." He goes, "This is, he goes, it's something else." He goes, "I think," he goes, "you need to go back." He goes, "It's something within her digestion." Pointed me back into the right realm of things to find out that Jennifer was missing a enzyme in her digestive system, or they call it a protein, depending on who you talk to, depends on, what definition you get. There's not even a name for it because it's so rare, her condition. But her body metabolizes most foods, and I say food and I use the term loosely, as yeast. So she ended up with a massive yeast infection. So every time she was eating, she was feeding that yeast, and it was just releasing toxins, and essentially it was killing her. So, but once we got to that point, Jennifer started feeling better. We ended up taking her to a naturopath out of Falmouth, Maine. She did hyperbaric chamber treatment. She went to, ER shred without it being ER shred at the time. She was eating straight grass-fed meat. That's it. And then we started adding in one thing after another to see what she could tolerate and what she couldn't. And this was back 12 years ago. So, because her life is, kind of I can't tell my story without hers, because that's where my life kind of took over, was let's take care of Jennifer. So it's just kind of an interesting, how things intertwine over time. But, once she started feeling better, naturally, we're doing the fun things that, you do with your kids that we couldn't do while she was so sick. And we're camping, we're laughing, we're dancing. Jennifer loves to play drums. So, she'd start playing drums and the whole family would be up dancing, just because it was like, oh my gosh, this kid, it's like she does not have an expiration date that somebody's going to put on her. So
that's crazy. So you go, when you were going, you were you went to see a naturopath.
Yeah.
And then that little chunk, for me at least, it was like all static.
Okay.
Naturopath.
Now you're all staticky.
What's going on tonight? Let me make sure that you're back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
I'm all staticky.
Yep.
Can you hear me better?
Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay,
I can hear you all right.
Stay here. So naturopath.
Yes.
You saw a naturopath, and then just
Mhm.
that little piece right there, if you don't mind sharing that.
Yeah, I went to a naturopath, and he started digging further into everything that with Jennifer, and he put her on an elimination diet where we put her on strictly grass-fed meat, and of course there was a whole bunch of testing and everything in the process, to get us to where that point. That was probably about 6 or 7 months of tests and trying to figure out what was going on. But he was willing to dive into it and try and find the right answers rather than
Yeah.
throw meds at it.
So
Before we
during that process, Jess,
yeah
what was the big aha? Like, what was the big like connection that you guys, if you had one at that time, was there one that when you saw him versus like the traditional path that you were going down?
He was actually very unorthodox, for seeing a doctor. When
Yeah.
we first went in, he told us that he does a lot with quantum physics, and he's like, I'm going to do a few things, which I'm thinking to myself, going, this guy is out in left field, but I'm willing to try anything at this point in
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
he sat there and told us everything that was wrong with her just by holding on to her sitting, on his lap. And he goes, but we're going to run the test. And I shit you not, everything he told me was right dead on. He
Yeah.
ran, test after test, but everything he told me was wrong with her, what she couldn't have, everything, it was dead on with it. It was just one of those most bizarre things that I've ever experienced in my life.
So you guys did an elimination diet. You removed all the stuff that would be known to trigger
Right.
what was happening to her body, right? So you
Yep.
kind of like went to the root, if you will. You went to the root cause, like you treated the root in order to allow ABC to stop happening, right? And then how quickly did you guys start to realize a difference when you made those changes in dietary habits and fuel that was going in?
She had her first hyperbaric chamber treatment. And for the first 2 weeks after that, she ate nothing but grass-fed beef and nothing else. And her seizures stopped. It's just, it's like, okay, something's up here. It said, she had a few other treatments with the hyperbaric chamber and whatnot. She was on a activated charcoal to try and pull, any impurities out of her system as well. Prior to that, her neurologist had her on 14 different anti-seizure medications all at one time. So we were trying to eliminate all the crap from the medication as well as everything else that was in her system that she just couldn't tolerate. It's like I said, the most insane, dealings. You said you're giving a 5-year-old kid 14 different medications and wondering why there's no, at that point, as a parent, I sit there and go, why did I let this happen? But you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah. Wow. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
That's remarkable. It just thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it's a personal story. This is you don't have to, but it just goes to show like how, I mean, getting to watch your post and see how you care about people. For me, I pay attention to these things, and it just makes sense with you. You know what I mean? Like the nurturing, the caring, the helping other people on the side of the road. Yep, I saw that. You know what I mean? It's just good stuff. Like, holy smokes. Well, listen, congratulations on not giving up. Congratulations on believing. There had to have been a gut instinct that connected with you. That gut is such a powerful thing. If we can learn that one blesses the other and put them in sync, we create this wonderful bliss, And I hope we
Right.
do that. I hope we do that for people too, with the ER shred. So listen, talk to me about you. Like, obviously everything for that stretch was daughter, 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 daughter. You're
Yeah.
like expiration date, like, um, and then it's just like, go. This is
Right.
where this all makes sense. I mean, from the
Yeah.
story you told me, from childhood to the
Yep.
fight to, I mean, gosh, it just all kicked in. Like, but what happened? Like, where was Jess? Because Jess was a on the go athlete, like competitive, like all of that, business, entrepreneur. And then what happened in that time frame,
Um,
for you personally?
I got lost. I was so focused on everything that Jennifer needed and everything the family needed. And, the business was still going, but I wasn't as active in it as I needed to be.
Yeah.
And, in the meantime, with, okay, Jen's diet, I went back to school for nutrition, but then I turned it and took it to the farm side of things, so I'm
Mm,
farming. I've got, we're raising all of our own food at this point in time, and doing everything I can, but I was burning the candle on both ends. And for a little bit of relief, turned into a lot bit of relief, I started drinking because I needed something. And again, it was an
mm,
excuse. It was not a reason. It's an
mm,
excuse. Um, grab a bottle, have a drink, have a beer here and there was not a big deal. Well, it became more
mm-hmm,
and more and more. And
mm-hmm,
then when I really hit my breaking point, and realized just how bad things had gotten for me, this was back in 2014. I was up
mm,
watering my cows and they were up the road, and I jumped off the tailgate of my truck, and I had gained, I don't know how much weight at that point in time. I was almost about 290 pounds at the time. You
mm.
jump off a tailgate and I broke my back in 3 places. So just jumping off the tailgate of a pickup, hit wrong, landed stiff-legged, and my son was, 2014. He would have been maybe 10 years old. Got me in the back of the truck. I laid down on the tailgate, and he drove home, um,
Mm.
about a mile down the road, which was how we made it. Like I said, God was watching out for us. But I remember, laying on my couch, the kids would bring me a glass of whiskey because that's what I asked for, because, you can't move. You're in one of those darn braces. So there I am,
Mm.
and I'm drinking my life away. And I remember laying there just wishing that I could fall asleep and never wake up. It just, I was hit that far rock bottom. It's like, I just want to lay here and just be gone. And
Mm.
like I said, wouldn't have served any purpose. It wouldn't have helped Jennifer. It wouldn't have helped the family. I don't know what I was thinking other than being really selfish is, kind of my thoughts at that, about it now.
Mm.
Um, but that's when I first got introduced to isogenics. Was I saw Mickey Voters posting about how great she felt and how wonderful life was. And I'm like, I don't know what you're taking, but I want it, so I, that was just what I sent her for message. Like, I don't know what you're on, but sign me up. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, do you want me? I'm like, don't even tell me about it. Just, here's my credit card, get it coming, and she was trying to tell me about the product. She's trying to tell me about everything. And I'm like, no, seriously, take the credit card and order me whatever you tell me I need. And
Yeah.
so I jumped in and, went for it then and, felt great. And then we moved.
Okay. Wow. Well, I mean, I keep getting the same story of like, you are one tough son of a bitch. Like, I'm sorry to say.
I've had people tell me that before.
I agree with them. I mean, it's just like exuding out of you. Like, if I need to battle, I want you like right next to me.
Swords up, let's go,
100%. Sean, mock her down. She's a warrior for sure. Listen, so you're studying nutrition, you let yourself go. Some reason you turn to feeling that alcohol is serving something. It's filling something,
Yeah,
obviously, right?
filling a void.
Um, Filling a void, right? This is wow. Like, Jess, you didn't have to go there, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
thank you. I really appreciate. Like, it's so one for you. I mean, it's for you because when you can get that, I've learned through all my personal shit that I've decided to put inside me over the years, that the more I can, like, just yuck, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yuck, like, get out. You're not me. the better. And this is one of the things that I love to do for people. You know what I mean? And I can like feel you like just getting in. So I hope it's doing that for you, that it's just letting you.
It is the most healing thing to let it go. And, you know, it's one of those things that it's like, okay, could I stand up in front of, 10,000 people and tell them that? Probably not. But right now I'm talking to you. I know there's other people on the call, but I'm talking to you. So it's a little bit different.
And you. That's it. That's it. That's how I convinced myself to do lives too. I was like, it's just me. It's just me, that I love it. I hope people can learn from that. That's a valuable tip for sharing stories. And the first step is our Wednesday call. And it's so powerful. It's your rite of passage and just, you deserve that. Right. Okay. So you fill this void. You get to a point, thankfully, you self-realize and you're like, okay, Jess, like, what the is going on? And you decide to radically change. Thankfully, the universe puts a friend to you. It's crazy how this stuff all works, right? People think I'm woohoo for this. I'm telling you, it works for a reason. Like this woman followed the story. Like she, this is her time. This is her place. I believe that, right? If you just put the pieces together, like it's the puzzles coming together. So this is your place. Your friend's there. You have this amazing story, right? You're doing well. Again, you're feeling good, which is awesome, which is what it's all about. Was that the reason at that time, was really to feel good? Do you think you had the mindset right? Or was it just kind of like a breaking point and you were just kind of throwing something?
It was with her, watching her posts and things she was saying. I'm like, I want whatever she has. Because right now I'm feeling so miserable that I just literally want to lay here and go to sleep and never wake up again. And it's like, whatever she's got, whatever she's selling, whatever she's taking, it could have been completely illegal. And I was in because I was so desperate at that point in time. It was like,
Taka, something shows up and you go,
hey, it's literally
pants. Remove pants, wipe with Oh, you're so fun. You're so fun. Okay, so then you move.
Yeah. We sold our business. What happened is we were, with the trucking and, the farming and everything, it just got so much that my husband and I decided we needed to liquidate the business. So we sold out everything with the business and we moved from Maine to Vermont. My brother was out here. He's now moved to Pennsylvania, but we just a career change. My husband took a job as a mechanic at a farm, which now he's at a different farm, but that's another story. But, we moved out here and just a fresh start. That way he could be home with the kids because, even with the trucking company, he was around. And thank God for him because his job and his career enabled me to be able to take care of Jen and do what I needed to do. He was able to support us so that I could do what she needed, to have done and be, that mom.
That's huge.
But at the same time, he was a absent parent. He's coming home, Saturday night. He works on the truck all day Sunday. We leave Monday morning. We start it all over again. We had multiple trucks on the road. We have drivers working for us. And it just got so the rat race was way too crazy. So we packed up and moved. And in doing so, I kind of got lost again. I had a great support system. I had a good thing going there with, my own isogenics business. And then I up and walked away from it. I'm not, physically relocated. So you don't have that connection, the getting together with the girls on Saturday night and, let's, just group get-togethers. I was going to the gym every day back there. It's an hour for me to get to the gym up here. There is no gym. So all that stuff just kind of faded away. And it's like, okay, what do you do? And I will never forget, we were living in Newport Center, which is about an hour from where we are now. And we stopped by one of the neighbors' house and he poured me a drink and he handed it to me. And I looked at him and I'm like, well, I don't really drink. He looked at me and goes, you live in northern Vermont. That's what we do. There's nothing else to do here. And I went, okay. And I started back down another horrible, terrible path because we're in northern Vermont. That's what we do, and that was the whole mindset of everybody. And it kind of, you start unraveling and then you're like, okay, I don't have any friends. You don't get together. And if you do get together, this is what we do. So then, it's like very quickly I noticed that I was getting lost and I kind of got lost. And a couple of weeks ago when I was on Sean's call and I'm like, when I called Mickey that Wednesday morning or whatever day it was. I think it was a Wednesday morning. I was so hungover. I'm like, I can't do this again. I've got to, before I go. But I put down 80 of the 120 pounds I lost. And just, again, your life, take care of Jen, take care of the farm, go, do my thing, but not take care of me in the process, and totally lost myself again. So when I picked up the phone and I was talking to her, I'm like, look, I said, I've got to lose the excuses and start finding my reasons. I said, my biggest reason is I need to get back to me. I need my family back.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you feeling like at that time? I mean, what does that mean? You need to get your family back?
They're all here, but as Jen said, I have my mom back. I was existing. I'd get up, I'd go to work, I'd come home. And, I remember sitting at work some days going, geez, if I left now, I get probably leave early. I could get a couple more drinks in before I go to bed tonight. I'm like, again, I was existing. It was just simply, getting up, going through the motions and not being an active part of the family, not engaging. My son was playing football, and it's like, oh, I love, there's nothing better than watching your kid out on the field. It's just best feeling in the world. But I couldn't wait to get home. Couldn't wait to get back, drive back to the house and get back home, because I didn't want to be out, enjoying it. I had something else on my mind that was not. Yeah.
Did you not feel comfortable out, or?
No, I've always, I'm pretty open and, comfortable and, happy to be around people, but I didn't know, it's not my crew, it's like, again, I'm in a different place. And even though we've lived here for a few years, you're still not in your place. This is, it's home because I'm home with my family, but it wasn't, it's not where you grew up.
I totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah, no, I mean, I've lived all over the U.S. When I did my marketing, I moved everywhere, and places were home, but they weren't home. Like, it, what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like that. So I totally get it. Okay. Wow. Whew. So you realize again for yourself.
Yep.
That's crazy. You did a lot of self-realization, which is really powerful.
Usually when I was hungover, which really doesn't make sense, but.
So you're hungover and you have the self-realization, like, okay, enough of this shit. Like, let's go.
Yeah, okay. I'm done with this shit.
So you call back again.
Yep.
And you say you're hungover, and you say, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done.
I'm going for it again.
Going for it again. And at that point in time, what happens?
Mickey starts cheering, yelling yes, because for the last 5 years, she would keep reaching out to me because she could see what was happening. But how do you get somebody to see when, their mirror is painted black? It's like, so, like I said, she was cheering. Her husband's in the background, same thing, cheering, yes, you hear them, but it's like, okay, at the same time going, oh, but yeah. It was one of those,
because you lost 100 pounds. You said
I lost 122 pounds the first time around. I put on 81 of the 122 that I lost.
Okay.
Well, but
okay, so
8 more to go, and I'll be back.
So they're excited that you're back.
Yes.
And how do you start back?
Because I told her, I said, I never stopped ordering shakes or anything like that. So I got a whole pantry that's just chocker block full, because I didn't want to drink those shakes. I wanted, something else. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. And then she's like, well, have you heard of ER Shred? And I'm like, heard of what? And she kind of laughed a little bit, knowing full well that I hadn't been engaged. And, starts telling me about it. And I'm like, you know what? I said, just send me the links to it. I said, put me in the group. I said, we'll do it that way. And she's like, again, you don't want to hear about it because I'm like, no, you didn't steer me wrong the last time. Why, you're not going to steer me wrong this time. I said, let's go for it, And of course, then I started reading the guides and looking at the group going, oh my word. I'm like, this is my daughter's life. Everything, goes with her. And it's kind of funny once I get going here, because Jennifer certain fruits and vegetables should be eating and whatnot, but we could never figure out, that, belly bloat and the discomfort that came with it. It's like, geez, she's eating everything as natural as possible. I'm raising stuff in my garden. I put up 134 quarts of tomatoes just to make sure that we have good quality, homegrown stuff. So it's like, it wasn't dawning on me that it was, some of this culprits that, she had. It just was like, well, she's eating healthy. I don't know what's going on. But again, I wasn't thinking clearly either. But
yeah. No, this is so powerful. I'm kind of glad, I'm excited that you're taking this road, because I think it's amazing that you can share this piece. And then I think it's also very powerful. So I hope, for the 28 people I can see on right now, maybe more, tune in right now, because I feel it right now. So you had this realization that even though it was healthy, it might not be healthy.
It wasn't healthy for her. It wasn't healthy for me.
It wasn't serving her body.
Exactly. And it was like the both of us, because, when I told her what I was doing, she's like, well, I'm going to do it with you, Mom. She's like, if you're going to be healthy, Mom, she's like, I'm coming with you. Because, she's been, again, we were gym rats when we lived in Maine, and then we moved out here, and she's got her weight set and everything. She works out an hour and a half every day. That kid is just an animal. But it's just that routine. And it's like, okay, we're going to do this together. Of course, at the time I had a torn calf muscle from the back of my knee all the way down to my ankle. It's split open lengthwise instead of, normally you get a tear that goes a little lateral tear. Mine went the wrong way. So they told me it'd be up to 2 years to heal. Not the case when you're on the ER shred, at least not for me. I'll, disclaimer, I can't say it heals anything, but I'll tell you what.
Sean, put the disclaimer on the second person. Yeah, we do not treat, cure, prevent anything, but this is her story. This is what happened for you. I'm just going to tell you that, as you've learned, I hope you've learned through this process, you're a human. Like you're freaking amazing. You know what I mean? And there's the disclaimers if anybody wants to go see. We don't, no, we just want to make sure, because we, one of our things is, we know that this is so powerful, and we need to make sure that we protect it so millions of people can experience what they deserve to experience, which is feel freaking euphoric every day. But you gave your body what it needed. Like, the connection, like you had this connection with your daughter in the naturopath. Food, boom, the most powerful legal drug on the face of the planet. You're having this connection again, boom, food, the most powerful legal drug on the face of this planet. Like, you can go pop Advils. Yeah, you can go wrap it up with ice. Yeah, you can go put some magic cream on it and all that kind of stuff. But are you getting to the root? You know what I mean? And it's kind of like the same theme if you realize it. You know what I mean? It's that same thing. So, all right. So you have a pop calf. Your daughter. Now, where's your daughter at health wise? Through these moves and this transition, because now she's coming back into this again. Was she struggling a little bit again with health, with anything?
She has been the one thing that even, when I lost focus on anything else, the one thing I've made sure I always did was make sure that she had what she needed. Okay. So, we moved from one place to the next, and my gardens always went. I found sources of, of course, here we are now, we're raising beef out here. We've got chickens, we've got the whole 9 yards. But, the first thing I do is find a source for her, for the top quality. And that was, made sure that she had what she needed. So 90% of the time I would make 2 meals. I would cook Jennifer her lean meat, and her vegetables and everything like that. And then we're having lasagna and we're having, breads and all this other garbage, which I still, again, think I lost my mind there for a little bit to, wonder why we were doing that. But it was just one of those, you go for the quick and easy instead of, and all right, I'm cooking one meal. Why don't you just make one full meal? But,
interesting.
And I think, part of it was, okay, her stuff, it's her stuff.
Oh, okay.
And you just have, for a while, you got that mindset of, nope, that's Jen's, that's hers. You don't touch it.
You are the ultimate mama bear. Like, you remind me of my friend Hannah from Vermont. We call her Mama Bear. Every race, every ultra marathon, everything. She's like the person that must be in your corner. She's that person. Okay, so you really put yourself Back. Okay. So you guys get going. Your daughter's like, all right, I'm in. So that's perfect because now you have that connection. You
Right.
have that partner,
Mm-hmm.
which is so key. That's why I think the community is so key for people that don't have that
Right.
person for sure. And I'm sure hopefully it helped you guys too. But so now you guys get on, you get back going again, but this time it's the ER shred. You look at the guides, you have this connection like, holy crap, we kind of did this
Yeah.
with the natural path
Yep.
when Jennifer, went through her healing process. And it's kind of along those same lines, but now it's using the shakes that you're already using that have the high quality nutrition. It's using a couple other things. It's taking out all the stuff. It's allowing the path of the most beautiful thing that I think is self-discovery, right?
Right.
Which is what we give. Like we're in this as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Like us as the board and coaches are like the buffers. Like we're like there side by side with you, guiding along. But really, you're the boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know your body. You know what's making you feel good. That's the most beautiful place to be is when you're in control. So share with me what happened. You guys get started with the ER shred and talk to me about, I guess, shred 1.
The first 11 days was probably the biggest, oh my word, like I said, looking at the guides and the more I'm reading, it's like, I got light bulbs going off everywhere because it was just, again, holy shit. And it's like, this makes so much sense. And then okay, take back, all right, what did I learn when I went to school for nutrition that, and then pulling it in and, applying everything all the way through. It was just, I probably drove my poor husband nuts because I'm talking a mile a minute going, do you understand this? And I'm like, and talking about trace minerals that are coming through my lettuce and, and they're not even, that could be the problem because it's got all this other garbage. And, it's just, and he's just kind of looking at me going, whatever, dear, just
Yeah.
So
it's crazy to me because I not now, but I want to dive in more with you about farming. People, you have this rare experience of connection to food to person, which is something that so many people don't ever experience. And it's a really unique connection. When you can grow your food and pick your food and tend to your soil and rotate your crops the right way so your soil is not depleted. I mean, right, Jess? Like people don't know. Like this is everything right now. Like this is why our food is so shitty right now is because
it's garbage.
Like the farming that you guys do seems very different than your traditional farming. Am I right in saying that? It sounds like you're
just, a quick little blurb. When I homeschooled my kids as well.
Okay.
And I took my kids to a farm show back when we were in Maine. And my son starts at 12 years old, starts talking to a fertilizer salesman about trace minerals that are in the soil. Like I said, he's a 12-year-old kid and this guy's looking at him and he's wanting to know, okay, you're selling this fertilizer, but what minerals are you putting back into the soil? And this poor guy didn't know how to answer this kid because he's like, well, this is a 12-year-old kid that's grilling me on minerals. And all I want to do is grow, show you that I can grow the biggest beans here. It's like, but there is no connection. Most people have no idea, where things come from, what it takes to, involvement to grow it, to produce it, the length of time and, everything that comes through it, and that you can reuse, 90% of your byproducts that come through the stuff you throw away. If you put it back in, it's going to give back to you on the other end instead of just throw it in a pile or it's crazy.
It is crazy. Gosh, we could dive in for hours more about agriculture and farming and how to reuse. And I mean, there's so many solutions that when you realize it, you're like, wow, I can't even believe we're in this problem that we're in right now. Seriously.
Right.
Like it's kind of silly if you really think about it. But anyways, let's get back to your shred. So first shred, you have this realization, like, whoa, what's that?
It was just, like I said, light bulbs everywhere. And I'm like, all right, we're going to go and do this and do it hardcore. And 11 pounds. I don't have the inches right here in front of me, but that was, 11 pounds in the first 11 days. I'm like, okay, that's a pound a day.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
And just, and
How did you feel? I mean, light
I
bulbs,
was,
what's these light bulbs?
it was just like, part of me was, you idiot, talking to myself, why did you do this? Why did you let yourself get like this? Because you know better, for one. And then, when you sit there and you look at everything and it's spelled out for you, and it's like, oh my word, this is just insane that, that you guys, grateful for all of you guys, took the time to put that all spelled out, and I say in dummy terms that, you don't need the PhD to sit there and read through it and understand it. It was just like, this is awesome.
Pretty simple, right? That's one of the things that we're so excited about, is that it's so simple,
Yeah.
but so impactful, because it just addresses, we just cut out the BS, right? Like,
Yeah.
as you said, it's very simple. So your first shred, you do that. What about, tell me about Jen. How did she do?
Jennifer did 9 pounds.
9 pounds. So you're at
Yep.
11, she's at 9, and you
Yep.
guys just like, okay, we're hooked. We're going right in.
Oh,
Keep going.
right, and keep going. Jennifer, she went down a pant size in her first shred. And then she's gone down another one since then. And like I said, she's always eaten healthy, just wasn't suiting her.
Yeah. What's your guys' groups of foods now? I mean, are you still pretty limited to what you're putting in? Because you've been doing this now since July, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you both have been doing this since July.
Yeah.
And obviously we're in February. We're in February. What the hell are we in?
It's June.
Nope,
June. Here we go. We're back in June.
Yeah,
January,
February, whatever the hell it is. Yeah. So it's been a few months.
Yeah.
What does the day-to-day look like for you guys now? How do you guys keep it going? We have a lot of people who are brand new shredders who are just about to finish their first ever 11 days. And they want to know, like, what the hell do you do? How do you keep going? Like, tell us.
I went back to the mindset from Jennifer's naturopath, is if you're going to introduce something, give it time to make sure it's, not going to, harm you. So the first thing we did, because we all love, like I said, 130, 140 quarts of tomatoes, pulled out some stewed tomatoes, and okay, we tried those, added those in. So we had steak, tomatoes on the side, had our butter, bacon, everything we were having. But that's what we had, that was the one thing I added for that week. More so, it's like we're down to about 3 days when I added in. But, that whole week, that was it, because I wanted to know, okay, is this going to cause anything or not? And, then it was, okay, we added in onions. And then same thing, waited, duration of time. Like I said, now it's about 3 days when we add something in. But we eat things, stewed tomatoes, onions, beets I absolutely love them. Jennifer loves them. They don't love her as much as they do me. Cucumbers, forget it. I can't do. That's, found out real quick. That's a culprit. So it's like, okay, and
even from your garden.
Even from the garden. Now, but it's also got me questioning how I grew them and what I put them in. So there's the other part of me that's saying, now I'm going to try something different this next year.
Okay. But very cool. Very cool. I love this. It's so cool. So, I mean, let me ask you this. You're doing really well. I'm super proud of you. I hope you're proud of yourself. I mean, obviously you're almost back at that point again. It sounds like you have this realization of like, okay, like I don't need all the, just because we have so many options in the world, we don't need all those options. Like, start to question what you really need. You know what I mean? Like, use your brain a little bit, a little common sense. Maybe we got to work off some, whatever. But my goodness, like, believe, and what I love that you shared one at a time. Give it a couple days. People are in a rush. And I'm like, whoa, you didn't rush for the last 20 years while you were, you know what I mean? You spent all night at the bar, for crying out loud. Like, you didn't rush that. Like, what do we like, I don't know what people expect sometimes, right? We're changing the most fascinating machine ever developed on the face of this planet.
The thing is, if you give your body time, it has the ability to heal itself. And that's where it's a high five. And that's the thing with, it's like going back to the mindset of, what we dealt with Jen is, let's give it time to see what the reactions are going to be. spaghetti squash, forget it. That right there is out feeding the deer because neither one of us, I love it, she loves it, but the deer can have it because it's not going to work for us. So,
I love that. I
so
love that.
it's
So
just
you're at that point too, where it's like, okay, I love this, but just because I love it doesn't mean that, you know what I mean? Like, why would I eat it if it's punishing me?
right.
So you're really making that connection. That's a beautiful, that's a good thing. That's a good
Right.
thing, Why do you think, this is I'm going to ask you a pretty powerful question. Well, I think, what's the difference now? Like, why am I never going to hear about Jessica and Jessica's comeback story ever again?
As far as jumping off the wagon, forget it. I've made
Why? What's your plan
well,
this time?
like I said before, I gave up on the excuses. Excuses are a bullshit story you tell yourself as to why you don't want to do something. You need a reason, and the reasons are far outweighing the excuses at this point in time. I've got Jennifer, who's, she's graduating high school. She's going to be with us. She's going to be doing some stuff here. I've made commitments to her. I've made long-term commitments that I hadn't made before. And those are the things that, if I say I'm going to do something, you better bet your ass I'm going to do it. Because that's, I've got goals and I've got them written out and I've got long-term 10, 20 years down the road. Because it's okay. When I faltered before, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have those ideas. I didn't have what to do in this situation or how to. So I do have, vision board, however you want to look at it. But I have a plan written out as to where I'm going to be in 5 years, where I'm going to be in 10, what I'm going to be doing in 20 years. I know what I want to do when I retire. I know where I want to be and what my health looks like. And that's, my goal anyways is, knowing full well that I can't go back there because that doesn't suit me. It doesn't suit them. And, one of these days I know I'm going to have grandkids. What kind of grandmother would I be if I'm sitting around, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer? It's like, that's not who I want them to, not that I smoke or anything, but at the same time, it's just not the life that not what I want to leave behind for anybody.
Yeah. Wow. You're at such a powerful path of action right now. And it's from a coaching perspective, it's like such a beautiful thing. Like, I'd be like graduating you right now. But still in your corner, because I believe we all need that nudge. You know what I mean? Like, we all do. We're just human. You know what I mean? Like, we're just human, and we can only be so hard ass and badass to ourselves. Like, I've had to come to accept that too. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, yes, I need help, please. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay, Jesse. Like, you can ask for help. Like, that took a lot. You know what I mean? But man, you are such at a beautiful place, and I hope people can see. I don't know if you've studied this or not, but man, you have just described what it takes to break through plateaus and overcome hurdles. You've described visualization that Olympic and pro athletes and professional speakers use. You're seeing it, you're visualizing it, you're tasting it, you're smelling it. It's like you're literally living in 5 years from now today. And Jess, I don't even know if do you realize you've done that? Like, that is such a beautiful thing. It's so powerful. I hope you realize it, because keep that up. And there's no doubt that you're just going to keep smashing it. And what an example to set, unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't say I actually thought about it till you said that, but now I'm going, wait a minute. Yeah, I guess, okay, I did.
Now you nailed it. Like, you nailed it to like the textbook. Like, I can go pull a book and I'm like, oh, wow, you should have probably been a co-author because you wrote that book. Listen, that's crazy. Wow. So total so far, just so we don't get off, you have now lost what?
72 pounds. It was 85 and a half inches at this point in time.
Shit.
So I'm down from
72 pounds and 85 inches. And if you were to pick the 3 things that stand out the most that are non-scale victories for you, what would those things be? They could be around mood, focus, energy.
Energy is just, like I said, I was never one. I'm a morning person, but to get out of bed at 2 a.m. to work out before I got to go plow snow at 3, who does that? And
you do that.
I do that. And I'm like, okay, and I love it. It's not I got to get up. It's I'm out of bed and I'm waking up naturally and ready to go. And as soon as I wake up, I wake up, my feet hit the floor, and we're going. It's
That's right.
Whatever needs to happen. That I said, non-scaled. I'm back to the focusing on where my food is coming from. That's one of those things to me is a major non-scaled victory, is paying attention again to what was so important to me before. And I think it always has been important. It's just, it's come back into the light. And now, refocusing on, paying attention to, what am I doing? What are my plans? Where, what do I got to do to equalize the pH? Everything's going to be in balance. So, putting that back in perspective as well. And the other one is family. I've got, when Jen said she's got her mom back, I've got my family back. I've got my husband and my son jumping on this next shred with us, which is huge. My husband's never, cleanse days are an issue for him. He's never, he's always tried them, but he's going to do it. My son is jumping in. He's asking about joining, he wants to get into, the business side of things. He's a natural athlete. And he's like, okay, he goes, is this going to help me? And I'm like, well, he's like, I'll do it and see what happens. So just knowing that your family is coming together and everybody's working together, it's, to me, those are my biggest victories.
Hell yeah. Seriously. Wow. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. You started with just realizing and kicking yourself in the ass. You had the courage to say yes to you.
Yeah.
You literally became your own superhero, and in doing so, became a superhero back to your daughter and your family. I didn't even get a chance to go and post, but you got a fan club in the comments tonight that are like thanking the living shit out of you for saving their life and keeping them safe up in Vermont and getting back to the farm girl. And I mean, go back through and make sure that you feel that love. Jessica, you're such an adorable inspiration. I'm in tears of joy right now. I don't know who that is because it says Facebook user and I can't see it on here, but on Facebook you'll be able to see. Jess, take a deep breath and just take all that in. Like, seriously, have you stopped to congratulate Jessica through all this?
Not yet.
Can you do that for me? Can you do? Yeah. Can you just take a deep, biggest breath in that you've ever, Lenny taught us this, right? You're not even on this live right now. Just close your eyes, just deep breath, really get it into the diaphragm. Keep breathing, and when you don't feel like you can breathe anymore, another one through, hold, and just and when you let it out, just think of all of that. You deserve that. You deserve that, because without you as that center, without you as the nucleus to what you just described, to everything else that's happening going around, you've been that driving force. You damn straight you deserve to feel amazing every day. You damn straight you deserve to feel awesome in your clothes. You damn straight you deserve to feel awesome when you look in the mirror and say, hell yeah, I love myself, I'm sexy. You deserve all of that. Seriously. I'm going to tell you, if nobody's told you, you deserve all of that. And I hope you accept that, because you're such an amazing person. You just do and do and do and do and do. Even tonight, all you did was serve. You just served and served and served. And I just want to make sure that you get it all in. Every single person still on this, you go show Jessica some love, because she deserves all of that and 15,000 times more of that. Seriously. I can't thank you enough for showing up, for sharing, for being vulnerable. It was a pleasure getting to know you. I'm not bullshitting you when I tell you, like, I'm embarking on another pretty epic thing in what I love to do, bettering myself so I can hopefully help other people. And it's not going to be easy. You know, I've committed like well over 100 hours to talking and classes, and you know, with the baby in 3 months, and I mean, I think my wife might kill me, but it's like you gave me, like, I'm in my head thinking, okay, like, I can do this, I can do this, I'm going to do this because I deserve to do this because this person benefits, like, and I'm thinking in that way, and I do think that way, but you just sparked that. And I'm going to write it, because one thing I lacked in, Jessica, I'll be honest with you, is I'm missing my vision board above my desk, if you can't see, so I'm calling myself out. But you just motivated me to do that, so hold me to that.
Yeah.
Because it works, you know, and I hope people take it and they do a vision board too, and don't overthink it, but just do it. Man, I gotta listen to this again because I got so much out of tonight. So thank you for showing up, and just thank you for sharing. You know, this is going to go on YouTube, and the people tonight, and I know people in the future, if they come upon this, I hope it gives them as much inspiration and power as I feel now, because that's pretty cool. And you did that. Like, you have that power. So give that to you, because without you, Jess, there's not, you know what I mean? Nothing else can go. Like, that's why you deserve everything. Like, you first, so you can be that super powerful mama bear that I know is just flowing through your body. Like, it just exudes you. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
All right, friends. All right, guys. I hope you got a lot out of that. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. Time is the most precious commodity that we have. You can never get this back, and I don't take that for granted. Thank you so much for joining us tomorrow night on our Wednesday calls every single week. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern. Jess was on there the other week, and I mean, her story, I was like, okay, we need to go deeper. That's the power of these calls. I mean, if you need to hear more, tell them, Jess. Like, every single call on Wednesday is just like jaw dropping.
It's insane.
Like, just keep coming and coming and coming. And you're like, how can this keep happening to all these different people?
Yes.
It just keeps coming and coming and coming and coming, right? Old, young, doesn't matter. So show up, for crying out loud.
Yes.
www.ershredders.com. It's free. Join our community of 24,000 plus. To get into our call tomorrow night, it's right up top. And then Thursday, we have our share the shred, because once we become heroes, we have the opportunity to then step it up to the next level and become a superhero like Jessica, to pass along that and provide others that amazing solution, so they can become their own hero and hopefully help transform every aspect of their life, like Jessica just shared the possibility of doing here tonight. So thank you guys again. We hope you all have an amazing night. We'll catch you here next week. Bye-bye.